part of it's that they're trying to make an example of Tina. They've made that abundantly clear from what the remarks of the judge and what he had to say at her sentencing to, you know, putting her in that general population. I mean, they're trying to send a clear message to anyone else who would try to question elections or do their job. I want to touch on something you said because it did catch my attention. I have heard that behind the scenes, the president himself has been very frustrated at the lack of movement in securing Tina's release. He's upset that people have to keep coming to him and saying, well, what are we going to do about Tina Peters? You mentioned that some of this might be due to staffing problems in the DOJ. Could you just expound on that? Explain a little more what you mean by that?
Well, you know, there's some very wonderful people in the DOJ at this point in time, people that are really not only really bright, but know how to get things done, and that are true and loyal to the cause, which is the cause of making America better. And and some of them have, you know, a certain number of really great people that are working with them, but they haven't yet gotten the staff that they need, you know, to be able to make sure that everything gets implemented.
Yeah, and I do know that there's been somewhat of a, I won't say hiring freeze, but it's definitely a kind of administration-wide directive to be slow on hiring as they kind of also weed out people. But then you run into these kind of situations right here where you need the support staff in order to, you know, take some action.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
in business, it's a general rule that you know, fire fast, hire slow. And so in a way, we've got more business people in this administration that know how to make businesses work. And so if they apply these principles to government, it should make government work much better as well. And I can't blame them. What I do blame is that there's still so many people that are still in the works, not at the head anymore, but in the
Yeah.
works. In other words, yeah, now we've changed the U.S. attorneys to be people that are not just going to weaponize government, but we still have assistant U.S. attorneys who still have cases going on, which are nothing less than weaponization of government, and they're getting away with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got, you know, one U.S. attorney may have 300 assistant U.S. attorneys underneath them. They can't watch and know everything about every single case, not right away. And, you know, but it's going to catch up to them. We're going to get those AUSAs out of government. These are not good people. These are the kinds of people that should be where they're putting other people.
And I have run into that situation in hearing about multiple different issues going on in the administration as it relates to the DOJ, and that's something we'll be covering more in depth in the coming days. Actually, Peter, so you kind of set up a preview for some reporting we have coming. Real quick before I let you go, and then I know we're going to catch back up with you tomorrow to see how it goes later today. But Peter, I have made the case, and I contend that Tina Peters is a federal whistleblower. She should be offered federal whistleblower status. Could that not come from Trump's DOJ? That could be something. I don't even feel like you should be having to file this writ of habeas corpus petition, because I feel like she should just be in protective custody by the federal government. Can you maybe explain why that isn't happening?
There are people in the federal government that agree exactly with your principle.
Okay.
I like Ed Martin, for instance, understands this and wants this to happen. The problem is that there needs to be a case that's being pursued in the federal government before they can act in ways that would basically empower them to come into the state. And I think that these things are coming about. We've got some wonderful people that realize how real the situation is. I mean, you know, if you think about it, first of all, why was the trial judge so afraid to have Tina Peters tell her story, to get out there and tell what happened and have the freedom of speech? The reason for the fear is because she speaks the truth. If she was just lying, it'd be so easy not to have to worry about it. But they have to worry because she speaks the truth. And when she speaks the truth and tells the world that how the election in 2020 was fixed, which it was, and you're going to hear more about that, not just from me. You're going to be hearing from the government. You're going to be hearing from people like Tulsi Gabbard, I'm sure, Kristi Noem, people that know what we're fighting here. Because if the election was fixed, we know it wasn't fixed by Joe Biden. That man couldn't fix a flat tire. It's not a question of him fixing the election. It's a question of the people that pulled his strings that were fixing the election. So what we're looking at is something much, much bigger than most people are aware of. And when we look at somebody like Tina Peters and the people that know her and know what she did, call her a hero, it's not because of just a minor issue with a little skirmish that happened in regard to the election laws in the state of Colorado. This is far, far more important. This is keeping America. We lost it for 4 years. And I'm not just talking about Democrats versus Republicans. We lost it for 4 years to potentially foreign interests and wrongful characters that have basically took the election. If the election was stolen, it was stolen by criminals. It wasn't stolen by good people. Good people don't steal elections. So, what we're looking at is something much more scary than what most people would even imagine.
I agree with you, Peter. I do hope we hear from DNI Gabbard and Secretary Noem soon. It's much bigger than we realized in 2020. And it's not just America. This is global implications that Tina Peters stumbled upon and found herself in the middle of. And that is why she's such a target, as you said. I'll be listening into the hearing today. We'll catch up with you tomorrow on how it goes.